Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tudo Hoyani. The fate of the first accused in the Senzo MEYIWA trial has been sealed. You should have seen the judge's demeanor after those questions, those controversial questions by Attorney Ramusipili on Muzi Sibiya, and shortly after Attorney Ramusipili had finished asking him the questions that he was asking him about the way he had been tortured by the police, how he had been denied food and water, and that they drove, from the East End to Kwanongoma, an 8-hour drive together with Gininda and Gininda's juniors, and having to drive back another 8-9 hours to the East End without, being given food, without being given water, and without even a bathroom break. So those are some of the clarifications, the controversial clarifications that I don't agree with, that Attorney Ramusipili elicited out of Muzi Sibiya. But what is interesting for the purposes of this analysis is what the judge said immediately thereafter, just before the court adjourned for lunch. And this is very significant because, the way a trial goes sort of indicates where the judge is also going. In other words, from the comments that the judge made during a trial, one can get a sense of what he makes of the evidence being tendered. And having, looked into that kind of demeanor or attitude that the judge has to any particular piece of evidence, it is then, possible to say to oneself, this is what the judge thinks about this evidence. Given those comments, based on those comments, and I would like you to take a listen here to Judge Ratha's comments, which I will come back to in a short while. So just take a listen to this.
And the same questions, and route back from Matabatini, were you given any food or drink by the police officers?
Umuzwa ukuthi omgaqweni ngesikhathi ngihamba lesemgaqweni sendleleni nesuke emahlabathini ngaba amaphoyisa akupha yini iphuzo noma mhlawumbe ukudla ukuthi udle.
Cha, awangiphanga lutho.
No, they never offered me food or drinks.
Mr. Sibiya, I'm thankful. Those were the questions that I had for you. My Lord, I'm indebted. Thank you.
Uyabonga ke ummeli futhi asiqedile ke yona iphele imibuzo
I was just about to say, my Lord, it's just about the stroke of 1 o'clock, my Lord.
Is that so?
Yes, ma'am.
So we adjourn until tomorrow now.
That's correct.
Yeah, but just before we adjourn, just a clarification. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Telling me here is this guy called Gininda who has mishandled you. And then suddenly he offers to take you to go and see your parents. And this gentleman is a brigadier. It's a Saturday, you know? Yes. Hello?
athi manje inkantolo ne ithi uma ngabe ufisa ukuphendula ukuphendule kepha kuma ongafisi ukuthi uphendule ngane wayithulela wangaphendula bathi khona ke umuntu kade kuyiphoyisa ubrigadier esiphoyiseni akaza akuphathe ngendlela ekahle futhi noma mhlawumbe ngendlela elungile kade ngomgqibelo ke emalangeni uyakuthatha ukuhambisa kini emakhaya.
And he goes with his juniors, Mohola, Mohanu, Buthelezi, whoever. All these are his juniors, which report to him.
Manje kade ahamba namaphoyisa amancane kena ke boMokhana boMogola nabobuthelezi futhi nabanye bonkana amaphoyisa lamancane kena kade reporta kena njengesikhulu sabo.
But it certainly shows this magnanimous effort from his part. He leaves his family, his children, and he goes down with you. It's about 6 hours or 8 hours. Is that not so? From Kempton Park to Mahlabathini. It's about how long?
But
7 hours.
7 hours.
7 hours, my lord.
You can add another 1 hour from Villaria to Kempton Park. Okay?
Yes.
It's about 8 hours.
But ungajobela futhi ngelinye ke ihora elilodwa lokusuka eVillaria kuze kufike lapha eCaptain Park ukuthi mawaphelile amahora khona kade ku 8 hours ukuthi nihambe nje kuphela ni emakhaya.
They don't stop anywhere on the path to say, hey, here's some water, here's some food. You can go and pass some water. They just go direct, 8 hours, right up to Mahlabathini. When you get there, they don't say you must have food with your family or have a drink or what. They just show your parents yourself, which is a traumatic event for you because your parents are crying and they've never seen you like this, your wife. And then you drive back again, 8 hours. And you don't go, and they don't give you food. They don't eat also. They don't drink water or cold drink. Just like that, 16 hours, no food, no drink. You don't have to answer. Okay. I'm just wondering. No, it's okay, you don't have to answer. Are we adjourning until tomorrow? Okay, thanks. Tomorrow.
So what is Judge Ratha saying here? What is the significance of what Judge Ratha is saying here is that, let us start with the reference to Gininda. Judge Ratha there says Brigadier Gininda and emphasizes, his seniority. That is a brigadier. In other words, implied in that statement is a senior police officer. How could a senior police officer have done that you allege in the presence of so many of his juniors, Mohola and all the others, Buthelezi and the entire entourage that was accompanying Gininda to KZN. So there's that reference to a brigadier. He emphasizes a brigadier. And he goes on to say, out of Gininda's own magnanimity, out of his own good heart, this same man who has been abusing you in the horrific manner that you have just told us he abused you, then out of his own magnanimity, he then takes it upon himself to take you to your parents in KZN. You see, and what is the significance of that? Just to give you an analysis of this, how does a man who has subjected you to such, brutal torture, all of a sudden turn around and becomes that magnanimous and lets you visit your parents in KZN? There is some kind of disconnect there. So this man that you allege meted out all these tortures to you, then drives you to KZN in the company of his juniors, an 8-hour, 9-hour trip, takes you before your parents, who are then said to have been crying when they saw him in the condition that he was, and then drives you back together with those same colleagues without giving you food or water, or like I indicated earlier, not even when without even having a bathroom break. Now, what does this all mean? You know, impliedly, what the judge is saying there is, I simply don't buy your story. You know, your story seems not to add up. Not to add up. Because I see contradictions in the way you, at one stage, depict this man, Gininda, as this cruel person who meted out third-degree, you know, torture to you, who all of a sudden does all these unbelievable things, takes you to your parents, but, you know, drives you to KZN over a period of 12, 13 hours under the circumstances that I've just outlined to you. But interestingly, he also says, and I think this was a bit unfair to Muzi Sibiya, in all honesty. He began by saying, you don't have to answer this. You don't have to answer this. Now, my question is, you know, why did Judge Ratha make that sort of comment and go on to indicate that Muzi Sibiya does not have to comment? Because that comment by its very nature sort of sends out a message to Muzi Sibiya that I don't believe a thing of what you are telling me. I'm not just convinced that what you have told me could possibly have happened. So that sort of, you know, attitude will naturally trigger in Muzi Sibiya, you know, a feeling that he must make some kind of response in the face of a judge making such comment. But then Judge Ratha said, you may or may not comment. So at the end of that comment by Judge Ratha, Muzi Sibiya asked to answer. And Judge Ratha said to him, no, you don't have to answer that. This is why I'm saying that once that message or that comment had reached Muzi Sibiya then felt he had an obligation, you know, to dispel some of the misgivings or, you know, apprehensions that the judge might have had with the testimony that he had given in the light of that comment by the judge. So this is why I'm saying it was a bit unfair of Judge Ratha not to have afforded him the opportunity to say something, to have an input into whatever views or attitude the judge had taken, so that the judge can then make an informed, you know, summation of what is transpiring in that courtroom. Because, you know, in law it is always essential that the other party must be heard. So Muzi Sibiya should have been given that opportunity to say something, but he never got that opportunity. And the judge then adjourned for lunch. This is why I'm saying, like I said in my opener, you don't have to wait for the end of a trial to know what the outcome will be. Experience has taught one that as a trial proceeds, you know, you can see the writing go up on the wall. The script is slowly being written. And if you read between the lines, it is there for you to see. And in this instance, Judge Ratha was simply saying to Muzi Sibiya, I don't buy that torture story. It is too, unbelievable. It sounds too fantastic to believe. It is at variance with what was happening. It is at variance with the reality of what was happening on that day. So that is how it all ended. And, so the dismay of Muzi Sibiya, he was not given an opportunity to say anything given the judge's disposition, which warranted some response from him. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. Let me thank you for all the likes, subscriptions, and shares that I'm seeing. I am elated by the support coming from you. Please continue to support this initiative, and I will continue to provide you with news analysis 2 times every single day. News unique to the Daily Fix. Thank you and have a wonderful, wonderful day.